For those of you I haven't met, my name is Ian McPherson. I manage our partner ecosystem for the media and entertainment vertical at AWS for the Americas. And so it's my good fortune today to be here with you and talk a little bit about another interesting sports use case. When I was 8 or 10, I remember sitting with my grandfather, and Friday night was always the fight night. So they'd have fights from the Olympic Auditorium. So I have a personal affinity for what these folks have done here. So let me just start by having you guys talk a little bit about, introduce yourself, and we did the bios, but so what's your role today in helping to bring boxing to the masses?
Well, I met Oscar about 6 years ago when I was COO over at iHeartMedia's Clear TV division. And I was trying to encourage Oscar and his team to bring a lot of his assets, video assets, into the iHeartMedia fold. The goal was to be able to begin posting a lot of the highlights of his fights on our sports radio stations around the country and throughout the world. And we got to be speaking quite a bit more, became, pretty chummy, and, focused on ways in which we could really enhance his company. And it turned out, he said, I'd rather start a new media and entertainment division at Golden Boy. And from there, I brought in a team. I brought a couple guys from Clear TV with me. And we started a small media and entertainment division. We launched ringtv.com, and we were doing live fights on ringtv.com from the Belasco Theater in downtown Los Angeles. And then from there, we got better and better at what we were doing. We started working very closely with Jackie, who oversaw the library. And she was in charge of distributing not only our live fights, but our library fights throughout the world. And with that, we began an OTT venture. We launched a Roku channel, launched an Amazon channel, and got better and better at what we were doing. We then did a deal with ESPN. We ended up becoming the production entity for that. Typically, that would be an ESPN job, but we were really trying to bring everything in-house, and with that kind of concept in mind, we were able to really advance, 3 years down the road, and then we just launched a new partnership with DAZN, who's focused on becoming basically the Netflix of sports. DAZN is now run by John Skipper, who's the former president of ESPN, and we had that relationship with ESPN. Our contract and our timing with HBO, who had been in boxing for 30 years, was kind of coming to its glorious end. There were a lot of great things that happened there, but right as that happened, DAZN was launching. We had that relationship with John Skipper, and we signed a multi-year deal with them that's valued at about $600 million. And with that deal, we're doing 12 World Championship fights a year. 2 of them are mega fights featuring the most popular fighter in the world, Canelo Alvarez. We've just done our first mega fight with Canelo on the DAZN platform back in May of this year during Cinco de Mayo weekend. He fought Daniel Jacobs. And as a testament to the power that Canelo brings to the brand DAZN, they were able to already acquire, just in the short period that we've been in business with them, 700,000 subscribers just in the US alone. So they are very, very happy with their investment in Golden Boy and with Canelo Alvarez. And with that said, there's a lot of library programming, there's a lot of short form programming that we are now infusing into the Veritone Digital Hub. And Jackie's overseeing the way that content is now being acquired by DAZN and others, so maybe speak to that.
Yeah,
just
Jackie,
a
so this is fantastic because this is live contribution. You're continuing to grow this archive or this library. Tell me a little bit about what this historical library looks like.
Yeah, Golden Boy Promotions, we have one of the best boxing archives around. Dates back about 30, 40 years. Some great Oscar De La Hoya fights, Floyd Mayweather, Sugar Shane Mosley. So we have an extensive library that's growing over 7,000 hours worth of content, as well as all the original programming that our digital media and entertainment team is creating. So we have an extensive library that we're that lives on the DMH, on the Veritone platform. And with that library, we not only license it to various broadcast partners globally, as well as partners within the US, and use kind of the DMH to get that material out very quickly and efficiently in an organized manner as well.
Great. Hey, so Garron, tell me, what is DMH? Give me a little bit, what's happening under the covers here?
So DMH is our digital media hub. It's a white label portal that is very easy to instantiate. Used to be that when we engaged with a company like Golden Boy and had to build a portal for them, it was a 3 to 6 month, let's build the code and make it work. We quickly realized that's not going to scale. So we came up with the framework of the digital media hub, which using Amazon as the back end, the Veritone platform for the AI, and some great interfaces and that sort of thing, we can stand up a digital media hub literally in weeks and have a storefront, a custom storefront for a customer. The digital media hub it's backed by S3 storage. You can have that content in Glacier to save on the storage costs. We migrated every piece of content that we had last year. In 2018, we migrated 6 petabytes of content for our customers up to Amazon. And it truly has alleviated all the problems we had in our own data center of serving that content out to the world.
So let's go one layer deeper. Now, you're talking about content, but more specifically, you're talking about video, you're talking about pictures, images, what goes into that?
Store, whatever you like to store, all media.
What is the technology doing with that content?
What is the technology that?
Yeah, so you're indexing, what
Sure,
happens here?
it will index, we're agnostic to the video type, agnostic to the image type as well, but we've built the workflow tools to ingest that content, take it from that master format, which is what our customers, it's more of a business-to-business type portal. It's not necessarily, their customers are going to be other editors and production companies that need to use this in a film or in a documentary or a television show. So they want to get to that highest resolution master, not just a streaming video. But we'll make the previews that'll stream out online and the workflows to create that. We'll do transcodes around international copies for customers if they want to have a PAL version and an NTSC version for instant access. We can create instantly downloadable files or a way to order those files and get them either pushed over UDP to an Aspera destination or a Signiant destination right into the edit suite. We'll manage documents as well, so we can index the documents in that. All the content can go through AI, and we'll run speech to text. We'll run face recognition, OCR. We've got about 16 different cognitive classes that we can run against the content and keep it all indexed inside of in our search.
Great. So now with this body of content now immediately available and understood, how does that change the way you interact with your customer?
It changes it on several levels. First and foremost, we do about 50 events a year, and with doing those 50 events a year, we're doing 50 press conferences. We're doing numerous post shows. With those press conferences and those post shows, we need to get footage to our broadcasters, our writers, our newspapers, our bloggers as soon as possible. So that's one of the first steps is kind of getting that content out there so it's utilized to promote the winners, to promote this upcoming fight, and then also to provide information to news and broadcasters around the world. Secondarily, as Jackie mentioned, on the archive side, with the hundreds of territories and many hundreds of TV channels around the world that take in our content, a lot of them are looking for ways to create their own promos, their own ways of driving viewership to the broadcast that they're purchasing from us. So having highlights, having archive fights available to them so that they can cut up and customize their marketing message the way they want quickly helps us tremendously. And then it also, on a whole nother level, just internally with our in-house production group, especially our editors, who are creating content not only for social media, but we do our own studio shows that get distributed to our regional cable networks around the country, throughout the world. all of this new tool allows them to access the content quicker, allows them to search for the content in a much more effective manner with the metadata that we're building into all of these files. And it also gives Jackie the opportunity to create new monetization strategies.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you, I mean, there's a workflow element to this, but you're also, it's opening up new possibilities. So talk a little bit about how you've been able to take some of that content and build new offers.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been exploring different opportunities to create some clip write packages and kind of work with some ad agencies to have access to the material and seek out the various content that they need. We'll typically license full broadcast programs of these full fights, but to different partners, we're looking at a lot of more short form content and just having that easily available on the DMH. And the good thing about the DMH platform is it allows different partners to go in and specifically clip off what they're looking for and immediately download it in whichever format they need the files in. So it alleviates a lot of stress off my editors, so they're freed up to do other projects. And it also allows our different users and broadcast partners to specifically pick out what they're looking for in a very quickly professional manner.
That's cool. So Garron, now they're serving a global audience, right? And this is legacy content, most of it probably in English. But talk a little bit about the role you guys play in fulfillment to other languages, other geos.
Sure. Some of the services we offer through Veritone. Veritone has created an OS for AI, so it allows us to quickly integrate with the various engine providers, Amazon included. We have a lot of Amazon engines, but we also can pull in other providers as far as transcription goes, translation and that. It's an easy way to code against the different engines that are available out there, and we can run transcription as well as then flow that into translation. We actually have a partner that is building a website where they've integrated 46 different languages into the portal where media can be uploaded, transcribed into whatever language they choose. They can take that text, do whatever quick tweaks to the text, upload the text, and then have that translated to 5 or 6 languages at the same time. And that was just an application built on top of our operating system through our
And these
APIs.
are on-demand services. You don't have
Completely
to know ahead of
on-demand.
time that you have to do this in Portuguese.
Yep.
And have
Yeah,
it.
exactly. We can scale as need be, and that's the great thing with digital media too. When leading up to a fight, especially, a lot of shoulder programming and things are created. We don't have to think about having to scale because the system scales itself as far as being able to deliver the content all around the world.
That's great. And so if you kind of look forward, what are the things that have you excited about using technology to serve that content?
Well, one of the things that we're really looking forward to in the balance of this year is we're going to go back in and rebuild our whole OTT platform. And we're going to build an app that's going to live on Amazon, Roku, Apple TV, Google Chrome. Now that we kind of have the ability to kind of move content quickly and efficiently onto these channels, it's going to give us the opportunity to kind of really keep our fans, enthused with our fighters, promote our fighters, and give us a chance to also bring some more exposure to some of the special projects that we do. One of the things that we've instituted over the last couple of years is that we turn our international press tours for the big mega fights into actual red carpet movie premiere events. And we have used the device of this short film that we create. It's called I Am Boxing. We've done I Am Boxing 1 and I Am Boxing 2. With I Am Boxing 1, we used a lot of archives out of Ring magazine, which is a whole magazine that Oscar owns. It dates back to 1922. And it allows us to reintroduce those programs more efficiently, not only on our own channels, but with our new partner, DAZN, and different things like that.
Great.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Jackie, we talked a little bit about that magazine, but that's also a big part of the contribution here. So what does that look like? What does that history and process look like?
Definitely. So as David mentioned, Oscar De La Hoya owns the Ring magazine, which is one of boxing's oldest magazine publications, dating back to the 1920s. So we are currently in the middle of digitizing all of the hundreds of thousands of pages that that archive entails and uploading it onto the DMH, and we're going to be utilizing some of the AI technology to help quickly identify what's in all of the contents of the magazines. Some of the editors who do work on the Ring magazine themselves are very excited at the idea of being able to look up Joe Calzaghe or Bernard Hopkins quickly and see, how far back these various articles can go. So we're looking forward to kind of getting the contents of the magazine onto the DMH. So Oscar and other partners of ours can quickly see what that material consists of and how we can kind of utilize that moving forward for different projects that we have.
Cool. So Garron, I'm a content owner. I've got boxes of tapes and I've got stacks of magazines. Yep. Where do I start?
That's a great question. First, you get everything out from under the desk, so when a water pipe breaks, you don't have a flood on that desk. But we work with a lot of digitization partners and that sort of thing, and a lot of different consultants that help work with us. It's just coming up with a plan and not trying to eat the whole elephant at one time, doing a little bit at a time. Even on the AI side is doing a little bit of AI just to see what benefits your group, and we like to figure out how do people search for the content. We don't want to change the way people do things, except what we want to make it easier and help them scale. We do a thing we call, we talk about people being in the loop a lot of times, and we want to move them from being in the loop to on the loop, so that AI is actually performing tasks that don't replace the human, but help them kind of change their job and help them move the needle a little further. I mean, the transcription on thousands of hours of content here can literally be done in a few hours versus a transcriber having to type out every word. And while we might not be 100% accurate, we're going to get you very close to an accuracy that will help with search, get you to where you need to be. And then if you want to use it for closed captioning, some small tweaks will help you apply that to your final assets.
Cool. So I think we're coming up to the top of the hour. I'm going to stay, if anybody has got any questions that they have for the panel here. Doesn't look like it.
There's a couple.
The question is, with the historical fights, are they in standard definition?
Yeah, so most of our content in about 2007, it's HD material, HD. But prior to that, it's certainly standard definition. We have done some converted it into the HD quality, but it's not quite the same. But so we've got both SD, HD. We've got a little bit of both.
And it can be transcoded on delivery. So if you want to upres it to HD on the delivery side, you can.
Over here, hang on a sec.
Hey, I'm just curious that you mentioned that you built a workflow, a publishing workflow. Is that something that was homegrown, or did you happen to use any kind of open source technology for that?
The workflow that we primarily focus on is the ingest workflow.
Right.
So we use SNS on our S3 buckets to notify it's a homegrown ingest service. So we'll get an SNS notification so we know the URI of that file. And then we'll start moving that file through the different processes as far as introspection on the technical side, even on the descriptive metadata side, and then the transcoding of that to different renditions.
So is that providing you the entire BPM, or because there are many BPM open source tools available, like Camunda and stuff like that. So
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
There are different kind of BPM workflow tools also out there, like one example being Camunda. But did you happen to use any of those, or was it strictly the SNS notification that you used?
It was strictly all in Amazon automation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me pick this one up right here.
Hi, my name is Mars and I work for NBC Universal. So the question I have is that, has the digitization of your media content helped you drive more monetization through ad or ad serving technologies, or even in the personalization space of ads? Any of that effort has borne fruit or not?
So the,
Didn't quite catch the
So
last
I think
part
the
of that,
question was,
sorry.
how have you been able to use this digitization to monetize through advertisement?
oh, through advertising.
So now, given that you're distributing B2B to other broadcasters, I'm assuming that you're not doing the ad insertion. This is content you're delivering it out, and they're going to do
Yeah, it's probably
markers
more
in the ad
licensing
insertion.
fees
But is
than-
there,
yeah.
have you been able to take the content and maybe talk just a little bit about where the monetization opportunity lies?
Yeah, so it's primarily straight license fees that we get from various broadcast partners globally, but we are looking at utilizing more ad revenue with some of the clip rights. And Veritone has some abilities themselves. They work with several ad agencies, so that's kind of a component we're looking to further explore, but at this time it's more direct license fees, but we do have that ability, and we are looking towards that.
Yeah, for clips or content that doesn't need or that's not necessarily, even if it is rights managed, there's a feature in Digital Media Hub to turn on an e-commerce piece. So you can, make certain content available for licensing, directly through the Digital Media Hub as well.
Last question.
Peterka, thank you for the presentation. Very, very exciting and interesting. You mentioned AI, and in your concept, AI is really not replacing the human; it's assisting the human to do better things. In your experience, what were the kind of the early successes of AI? Where do you see the biggest benefit of what you were able to achieve through AI?
Well, on the licensing side, we've had a lot of success with kind of project-based cognitive processing. One of as Jackie mentioned, we do represent different libraries around the country, CBS News included, and we'll get requests. CBS News or even NCAA, we had a request for a specific face of a coach that was on the sidelines for one of these teams, and you can only tag so many faces at a NCAA basketball game. But when the request came, rather than a human having to watch 70 hours of basketball to find that 2-3 clips where the coach was, we ran we built a face library inside of the software. You tag the face, run it against those 70 hours, literally within a couple of hours, and we had more choices for the customer to license in a shorter amount of time. So things that augment what the human would have been doing over a longer period of time.
Great. So David, Jackie, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Being here.